Well, hello, everybody. It's Grace here. Welcome to the last module. This is lesson 1. So Katie says this: what seemed terrible changes once you've questioned it. There is nothing terrible except your unquestioned thoughts about what you see. So whenever you suffer, inquire. Look at the thoughts you're thinking and set yourself free. Be a child. Know nothing. Take your ignorance all the way to your freedom. So in this first lesson, we're going to just simply learn and practice thinking peace, eating peace, taking it forward, a few pointers. Remember our flow of what happens in the world, how things work when we have thoughts, feelings, results, begins with a belief. We have a feeling about based on what we're thinking. Then we act a certain way based on how we feel and think. And those are the results that we have. And often the clear things that we see in the world are the results or the feelings. Not so clear the articulation of those feelings or where it comes from. But as we've been practicing in this eating peace process, you find out with just a little slowing down. You can see what it is your mind is saying, how it is chattering, what's the communication it is speaking to you in the moment about reality, about life, about yourself, that's producing the feelings that you're having. And oh, good that you feel upset, because it means I got to listen. Katie says, self-inquiry is taking responsibility for my own thoughts. So do the work for breakfast. So practice self-inquiry. So here we are in the process. Love the question, is it true? If nothing else, let's ask that question, is it true? So when am I going to need that? When am I going to notice it? When I'm feeling threatened by something in reality. I can ask the question all the time, whether I have a slight or large response to what's happening in reality. What am I feeling? What am I thinking? If I'm eating or I feel like eating, what was I thinking a moment ago or a few hours ago or a long time ago? So I'll never forget when I was working in my 20s and I was also had begun this exploring of eating off balance so deeply, and I was in a therapy group. Sometime in the morning, like literally 8:30 in the morning, I actually remember like it was in the first hour of the day, working 8 to 5. My boss came in and had something to say to me, and it was with a sharp voice, and I thought it was critical. Off and on during the day, I felt a measure of dread, worry, images of eating. By the time it was 5 o'clock, I was ready to race out of the door and eat everything in sight. And that's exactly what I did. The following day, I wrote in my journal and I went to my therapy group. And for the first time ever, I discovered, oh, I was extremely scared and then angry about that criticism. I don't even remember at this point what it was that he said to me that was so critical, but I remember I felt criticized and I was angry and defensive. I had paired anger and defense with eating. Expressing anger and defense meant eat your head off, eat with a vengeance, revenge, vengeful eating. So I began to ask myself often, depending on the energy of my eating, if I have this result of eating, desiring eating that feels off balance, what entered my mind before the action? I don't have to know. I don't have to be 100% clear. I don't have to know anything actually to not eat. So that's also important paradox in all of this to remember. If I do eat, I don't need to attack myself. Maybe sometimes all that eating was another way to take it out on myself rather than taking it out on the other person, which I was afraid to confront. I never confronted anyone at that time, it seemed like. We're taking small, easy, tiny, 1% gentle changes, the little boat traveling across, little changes. We're not making big plans for big changes. Just a reminder, small little changes. Noticing, noticing for 30 seconds is different than noticing never. So Byron Katie says this in summary to this lesson. Trying to earn your own love is just as painful as seeking the love of others, and the results are just as unsatisfying. And undoing the search works the same way. When you sincerely question your unexamined thoughts about yourself, love just happens. So simply a reminder here, practicing, is it true? Practicing, is it true? What am I thinking? Question it.